Olympic Stadium in Montreal. For tonight, it's the Braves against the Expos in Game 2 of a 4-game set. We've got another night game tomorrow night, an afternoon game on Sunday, and it's off to New York for 3, Philadelphia for 4, before getting back to Atlanta. We've got a homestand against the Western Division teams, the first team in, the Houston Astros. But first things first. We've got to win one here tonight. The Braves kind of wasted some good pitching last night.
Well, they really did, Ernie. You know, Doyle Alexander has really pitched that kind of baseball for the Braves all year, but he has not had the run counter going for him. In fact, after the game, Doyle told me in his last 4 starts, he's had 5 runs scored. He pitched a good ball game. Floyd Yeomans was terrific, and the Braves were shut out. And I guess if there's a good thing, Cincinnati lost again, so the Braves are still only 5.5 games out and 5 back on the loss side. Zane Smith goes tonight for the Braves, and a right-hander named Bob Sebra pitches for Montreal.
And we'll be back with all the action right after this word.
Bartender?
You can't get much closer to the game than this, unless you're reading this. The Sporting News delivers more baseball coverage than your local paper and all the other sports weeklies and monthlies combined, plus everything you need to know about football, basketball, hockey, and boxing. So why not get the Sporting News and get in the game? Here's how.
You'll get 40 issues of the Sporting News and 2 preview issues for 4 easy payments of $5.45. Call toll-free 1-800-257-1234. 1-800-257-1234.
They just played our national anthem and the Canadian national anthem. We'll be a few minutes before the first pitch, but here's John Sterling with the starting lineups.
Okay, Ernie, thank you very much. And once again, good evening, everyone. For the Braves against right-hander Bob Sebra, they have the same lineup, except for the pitcher's spot that played last night was shut out by Floyd Yeomans. Deion James leads off in center field. Ken Oberkfell bats second and third. Gerald Perry hitting third at first base, and Dale Murphy in the cleanup spot in right field. Ken Griffey hits fifth and left. Andres Thomas batting sixth at shortstop. Ozzie Virgil, the catcher, bats seventh. Glenn Hubbard hits eighth at second base, and pitching and batting ninth will be left-hander Zane Smith, who is 8-5 on the year, an ERA of 4.36. Zane tuning up under the watchful eye of pitching coach Bruce Dalcanton in the Braves bullpen in right. Zane 1-0 this year. In lifetime, he's 1-3 against Montreal. Now for the Expos, they make one change in their lineup against Zane Smith. The ex-American leaguer Reed Nichols, a right-hand hitter, replaces Herm Winningham as the leadoff hitter in center field. Mitch Webster bats second in right field. He's a switch hitter, so he'll turn around, as will Tim Raines batting third and left. Tim Wallach bats fourth at third base. Hubie Brooks, the fifth hitter, at short. Andres Galarraga bats sixth at first base. Hitting seventh, the second baseman Vance Law. And the Expos get another right-hand hitter in the lineup, the catcher Mike Fitzgerald, platooning with Jeff Reed. Fitzgerald bats eighth behind the plate. Pitching and batting ninth will be kind of a surprise for the Expos. Veteran minor leaguer Bob Sebra, who's really turned in a good season. His record is only 6-9, but his ERA is a very good 3.66. He is 0-1 in his only career appearance against the Braves. The umpires tonight, Dana DeMuth will call balls and strikes. John McSherry will be at first. Frank Pulley, you just saw him in the picture, at second. And at third base will be Fred Brocklander. Montreal playing good baseball. They've won 4 straight games, and their record now 48-39. They're in second place in the National League East, and 8 games behind the Cardinals. And it's a full 8 games, both in the win and loss column. The Cardinals lost last night in extra innings in San Diego, 9-8. The Braves are 41-47, and although they're 6 games under 500, they're only 5.5 games out as the Reds continue to lose. The Reds were shut out last night by the good Dr. Dwight Gooden and the Mets. And you see the Reds are only 5 games over 500. Houston won last night. They're a game and a half out. The Giants lost last night to the Cubs. They're 3 games out. The Braves. The Dodgers, who won last night. Fernando had his first shutout of the year. And the Dodgers 7 games out. And the Padres, the only team in the West that's really out of the pennant race. Now the Braves, as you look at Chuck Tanner talking with our traveling secretary and Mr. Do-It-All, Bill Akery, who does just about everything for all of us. That's on the Braves bench, located here on the third base side. Now the Braves do not want to start off as they did last year after the All-Star break on this same road trip went down the proverbial tubes. But being only 5 games out on the loss side, the Braves need to play about 500 on this road trip, and then they come home for a 9-game homestand. Well, the Expos have taken the field, and we'll set them defensively for you. There's a guy who's in the running for Manager of the Year, Buck Rogers. He's done an excellent job with this Montreal ball club. For the Expos, in the infield, Andres Galarraga at first, Vance Law at second, Hubie Brooks at short, and Tim Wallach at third. It's a good fielding infield, and it might be, along with the Cards, the best hitting infield in the National League. All 4 players are having outstanding years. Tim Raines, who is the MVP of this ball club, they started to take off when Raines came back after the May 1st signing deadline for free agents that had not signed over the winter. And under Tim Raines, since he's been back, the Expos are 39-25. Then Reed Nichols in center field and Mitch Webster in right. It's a very fast outfield. And Mike Fitzgerald will catch the right-handed Bob Sebra. Now, Sebra will not knock the bat out of your hands. He has a good mark on the year. And I mean by good marks, in 106 innings, he's given up only 98 hits. And that's a very good ratio. And his strikeout to walk ratio is almost 3-to-1. 97 strikeouts and 37 walks. But Sebra, who has all the normal pitches, you know, fastball, curveball, slider, change, he really relies on good control. He does not overpower you. And yet, he has amassed 97 strikeouts in about 106 innings. And that's pretty good. And the fact that he's allowed fewer hits than innings pitched is very good. Now, he's a tough competitor, Bob Sebra. In fact, the Expos will tell you, even their hitters like Tim Wallach will tell you, that the reason this ball club is taking off is not the hitting, and they have one of the best hitting teams in the major leagues, but it's been the abilities of their pitching staff. You saw Floyd Yeomans last night, and he's the star of this pitching staff, but Sebra and the left-handed Neil Heaton and Bryn Smith and Dennis Martinez have pitched very well. Here goes the siren. I don't know why, but the siren is going off. Deion James gets in the batter's box against Sebra. And to lead off the telecast, once again, here's Ernie.
Thank you, John. The first pitch, a ball. We are underway from Olympic Stadium in Montreal. As you watch Sebra tonight, look for a lot of curveballs. Although the first 2 pitches are fastballs. That was a fastball inside 2-0. Fitzgerald appears to be giving the fastball sign when he just flips out his little finger. That's with nobody at second base. That's a strike on the outside corner. Sebra in his last 3 starts is 35 strikeouts and 1 base on balls. Incredible. There's a curveball that missed, I believe, high. 3-1. Fly ball left. Tim Raines is going to catch it right near the line. 1 down. James 1 for 3 last night, is 0 for 1 tonight. Ken Oberkfell last night 1 for 3. Obi be followed by Gerald Perry. There's a curve. Sebra's 25 years old. Born in New Jersey, now lives in Illinois. Outside. 2-0. He was originally signed by the Texas Rangers, just to see what happens, and shows you what happens in baseball. That's a fastball right through there. 2-1. The Expos drafted Pete Incaviglia. Incaviglia didn't want to play in Montreal. That's the impression he led people to believe. They've got a siren going off, and the umpires are saying, knock it off. The burglar alarm just went off in center field. Now we're ready to play. And the 2-1 fastball hit hard, but right at Law, who's got good hands. 2 down.
This is the same stop that Vance Law made last night on Oberkfell to stop a base hit, or rather on Deion James stop a base hit. Would have knocked in Hubbard with the game's first run. Played it very well off to his glove hand.
Now Gerald Perry, getting back to the Sebra story, curve inside. The Expos couldn't sign him. He more or less led people to believe he didn't want to play up here. There's a single in left field by Perry. So the Texas Rangers said, hey, we've got Sebra and Jim Anderson. We'll give you those two guys for Pete Incaviglia. And that's how the trade came about. Incaviglia never played in a Montreal uniform. He's now playing for Texas, and Sebra's a starting pitcher here. Anderson, I don't know the whereabouts, probably in the minor leagues for Montreal. This is Dale Murphy. 0 for 3 last night. 25 homers on the year. Perry could go at any time. When he steals his next base, it'll be number 15. He's been caught only 4 times. He's back just inside. Big John McSherry making the calls at first. A little bit low. Braves have stolen 58 bases, have been caught 36 times. The Expos have 95 stolen bases, been caught 35. Look at that curveball. I mean, that's an old-fashioned sharp breaking curve. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Known in the trade as Uncle Charlie. That's a big jug.
Now the 1-1. Runner going. Swing a miss. Throw. Safe. Give Perry his 15th stolen base. Interesting stat right there. Their catchers haven't been throwing them out.
Braves have been trying to steal because of that. It was a big curveball, so Perry picked the right pitch. And he beats the throw.
Gerald in scoring position for Murphy with a 1-2 count, and the curve is hit high and foul down the left, and Murphy lost his bat. Got another nice crowd tonight. Last night 23,000, and we probably have just that many tonight.
You know, Ernie, you mentioned something last night about the popularity of baseball, and the attendance is going up again this year. Last night was Thursday night. It wasn't Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, and the major leagues, both the American and National, had some crowds last night. Throughout baseball, there were great crowds.
Attendance up almost 1 million more than 1986 for this year at a comparable time. There you get a look at the fans here at Olympic Stadium. It's a 1-2 pitch. It's a fastball. He tried to jam him. Let's see if we... Well, they've got an indicator set of signs. So it's a little complicated trying to pick up the sign with a runner at second. 2-2. They try to keep Perry from picking it up. Fastball just missed inside. They've got a base open. They're not too crazy about pitching to Murphy. But Griffey's on deck, a left-handed batter. Curveball hit foul. 3-2. They have ball girls here. We'll be with you at the same time tomorrow night. Airtime 7:30. Charlie Paleo against Bryn Smith. Mailer was scheduled to start, but he became ill yesterday. The curve is outside, and Murphy walks. One of the leaders in bases on balls, Dale Murphy, is at first. Murphy's 73rd walk. He's in second place. 85 walks by Jack Clark puts him in first. Ken Griffey, 0 for 4 last night. A lot of 0-fers last evening as the Braves only picked up 3 hits. Strike on the inside corner. The Expos had only 5 hits. And Hubie Brooks did all the damage. A home run and a sacrifice fly. Boy, that looked good, didn't it? That looked like strike 2, proving you can't ump from here. If he yelled a little bit, you'll know why.
Well, let's all umpire the pitch. It tailed back in. Boy, it was a tough pitch.
Look what he has in his hip pocket. Hit foul. A lot of players, well, they chew a little snuff now and then, but it doesn't appear that he's got a pinch in there now, but it's probably in his pocket. Boy, he won't slide with that in his pocket.
If he does, he's going to feel it. Have an imprint.
Yeah. 1-2. Curve, and he struck him out. Oh, the old downer got Griffey. Going out, we'll take a look at the curve we've been talking about. This baby really snapped off. Watch it go down and in and out. And that's it for Atlanta. The Expos coming to bat.
Here's the reason we have.
You can see how the Braves line up behind Zane Smith, who's shooting for his 9th win. He's lost 5. He's 1-0 this year against the Montreal Expos. Reed Nichols will lead it off. He's played in the American League with the Red Sox and the White Sox. The White Sox released him. He had a pretty good contract, too, and Montreal picked him up. I think it was rumored $300,000 to $400,000 a year. He's batting .279 with 3 homers and 15 RBIs. He'll be followed by Mitch Webster, then Tim Raines. Since May 8th, the Expos have averaged 5.1 runs per game. And when you get that many runs, you're going to win some ball games. They've been kind of a surprise. Not too many people felt that they would be in second place at this stage of the season. 8 games out of first. They're ahead of the Mets, the Cubs, the Phillies, and the Pirates. And there's a guy responsible right there. Buck Rogers, in his own down-home way, has done a good job up here. 1-0. One ball, one strike. Smith wastes no time. A little bit high. 2 balls and 1 strike. The outfield shading Nichols toward right as Smith misses outside. Last night, Winningham started in center field. Right to short. Nice big bounce for Thomas. 1 down. Now Mitch Webster, 0 for 4 last night. But he's batting .304 in his last 17 games. Webster's a switch hitter. The Braves are the only team in the Western Division to have a winning record against the East. They're 23-21. In fact, the West, really, of late, have not been playing very well. The Giants, in the last 10 games, the Giants have the best record. They've won 5 and lost 5. Everybody else in the last 10 games under 500. Strike off. Change up. Down. A little wiggle of the fingers by Ozzie Virgil to signal for his change. He doesn't throw too many. 1 ball, 1 strike. There it was again. 2-1. One fastball to Perry. 2 down. Perry wins the race. Now listen to the hand for the left fielder, the Montreal Expos, Tim Raines. They're 39-25 since Raines decided to play. He was a star of the All-Star game. Well, I'll tell you, he's earned that applause. He's just had a super year since starting late. I guess it was the First week in May that he started. A switch hitter. A strike. 0-1. No score, bottom of the first. The let-up is outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Fastball over. Tim Raines had the cutest little son, and boy, he can run too. It was cute that when he came to the ballpark last night, his boy walked into the clubhouse with the big most valuable player plaque from the All-Star game. Everybody cheered.
Yeah, he is
2
a
and
cute
2.
little kid. Everyone knows in baseball anyway that Tim Raines' nickname is Rock, the Rock.
Yeah.
His terrific build, and obviously they call his son Little Rock.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Raines last night 0 for 3. Just got a piece of it. Two outs. Fastball got Tim Raines. Zane Smith with a 1-2-3 inning. Watch this fastball as we go out. That'll take care of the Expos. We go to the second, scoreless.
When it comes to
There is last night's shutout winner, Floyd Yeomans, who is on some streak. And this telecast authorizing the broadcasting rights granted by the Atlanta National League Baseball Club and intended solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any publication, rebroadcast, retransmission, or the use of the pictures, descriptions, or accounts of this game without the express written consent, as Andres Thomas takes a strike of the Atlanta National League Baseball Club, is prohibited.
Thomas 0 for 3 in last night's game. Fastball missed. James Oberkfell and Hubbard picked up the hits off Yeomans. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Mike Fitzgerald obtained from the New York Mets, one of the players in that Gary Carter trade. Curveball. Boy, that's nasty. He has got a nasty hook.
You know, there's a theory in the minor leagues that strikeout pitchers are guys who throw breaking balls to get their strikeouts. But Sebra is doing it in the major leagues, getting his strikeouts on the breaking ball. Now you see how he has so many strikeouts without throwing really especially hard.
Ozzie Virgil. Been a while since a homer. About June 22nd, I believe. Fastball gets ahead in the count. Boy, that is so important. You get ahead in the count, and it's an entirely different game because he's got to hit your pitch. Another fastball. Outside corner. Well, you can bet the mortgage that somewhere along the line you're going to see that curve. There it is. Went in the dirt, and quickly Dana Demuth said, let me take a look at it. It's scuffed.
Isn't it interesting how Sebra has guys looking for the curveball, and he can sneak the fastball by him.
The 1-2 pitch. Curve outside. 2-2. Johnny Sane used to have a curveball like that. Very few pitchers have a big, sharp-breaking curve. Most of the pitchers would rather have a small curve. Well, he hung that one inside, and it was taken. Virgil's got to be upset with himself because that was a hanging curve. 3 straight strikeouts.
You know, you'd have to ask Ozzie, maybe he's looking fastball here, and he got frozen by the curve because it did hang up on the inside part.
Now with 2 down, here's Glenn Hubbard. 3 strikeouts in a row. Curveball outside. Look out. I don't know what he tried to do on that, and I don't think he's too happy with himself. Sebra just looked like you can see he didn't like what he did to that pitch. He tried to take something off a fastball and almost hit Hubbard. And there's a strike on a fastball. 2-1. Fastball. High pop left field. Rains. It's going to be a 1-2-3 for Bob Sebra. We move to the bottom of the second, scoreless, just like last night.
This.
Seltzer 4.
Are agents like Norby Walters turning college athletes into professionals before their time? Hear his story on the sports page. 11 Eastern on the Superstation, Sunday night.
All right, we're going to take you on a little trip. Willie Stargell hit a home run right up along the right field foul line there, that yellow seat. Over 500 feet, that's the way they're measuring it, aren't they?
535.
Brother. Strike call. There's Big Willie. He's had a few tape measures. He's hit some upstairs in Atlanta, Three Rivers Stadium, in the club level here.
Remember the night in Los Angeles we showed where Willie hit one over the pavilion roof and out of the ballpark? I mean, that was amazing.
This is Wallach. And I believe it was Willie that in Old Park Jerry here hit one in the swimming pool behind the fence in right field. Scattered a few. Bounce foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Tim Wallach with an 11-game hitting streak. 1 for 3 with a triple in the first game of this series. He sweeps at the ball. And he swept at that one. To left field. Caught by Griffey. A lot of people have a compact swing. Wallach kind of sweeps. Doesn't hurt him. He's batting .306 coming in. Hit that ball pretty well, but Willie, I should say Ken Griffey, was there for the catch. Here's one of those most valuable player type guys. Hubie Brooks, their shortstop. Knocked in both runs last night. Fastball outside. He had 1 year with the Expos where he knocked in 100 runs. You don't find many shortstops that do that. Pitch is high. 2 balls and no strikes. He was one of the main players in that deal with the New York Mets. Carter and Brooks were the keys. In '85, he knocked in 100 runs, had 13 homers. 3-0, ball 4. You know why the Expos are playing well. All you got to do is look at their numbers. Here's one right here. Andres Galarraga with 61 RBIs, batting .332. In the middle of their order, they've got some sock. Strike call. 1 out and 1 on. John Sterling and Ernie Johnson with you as you look at Brooks leading from first. We'll be here through the middle of the 5th, and Pete and Skip will be over. The Braves trying to score a run the second half of the 1987 season. Now they've gone 11 innings without a run. Got some outstanding pitching last night from Alexander. The 1-1. Into center field, just out of the reach of Hubbard. A hard hit single by Andres Galarraga.
As hard as that ball is hit on grass, that's probably a double play. But on the artificial turf, that ball went past Hubbard before he could react to it. as Galarraga hit the devil out of it. We'll see the pitch again. On the outside part, and Galarraga goes with it and just smacks it past Hubbard before Glenn could react.
Some players have said playing on artificial turf for a complete season ought to add 10 points to your batting average. Ball just gets through there so fast. Here's Van Slaw. That's one of his best batting averages, 305. The Braves, however, are closer to first place than the Expos, despite the better record by Montreal. The Braves playing just at about the same pace as they did last year at this point. 1 ball, no strike. That's a bouncer to short. They got one at second. Out at first. Nice double play on a ball that wasn't sharply hit. Going out, we'll look at this 6-4-3 double play. If you keep a scorecard, the shortstop is 6. Hubbard, the second baseman, is marked 4. And the first baseman is numbered 3. And that'll take care of the Expos. We move to the third.
Checks out 5.
The most well-informed Braves fans read Super Sports News. Each issue is filled with inside facts about the team, player features, photos, minor league information. And to subscribe, send $11.95 for the next 12 issues to Super Sports News, Post Office Box 89162, Atlanta, Georgia 30312.
And we want to thank MC Antill, who writes for the Super Sports News, for the kind words about the old right-hander in the most recent edition. Here's Zane Smith. We're scoreless, each team with a base hit. Sebra with the first pitch is a fastball fouled away. I mentioned the Braves, and they're playing interesting baseball, as my old friend Dick Decker down in Philadelphia mentioned one day. We won the war. They were losing when we went in. That's our claim to fame. But Dick Decker mentioned the Braves. He's watched them for years, saying, I like the team. It's an interesting team. They always seem to be fighting to win the ball game. And I think there are a lot of fans out there still feel the same way. Zane Smith with a count 0-2. Inside. That hit him. A little curveball that ticked Zane Smith, and he gets first base hit by a pitch.
The last thing that Sebra wanted to do is hit Zane. And he gets the base.
I might add, it doesn't have to hit you on the fly. Let's watch. This one bounces, I think, and hits him. Watch. No, it might have hit him on the fly. Even if it bounces up, it's still a hit batsman. This is James. And as we talk about the Braves in the Western Division, Cincinnati only 5 games over. Doesn't make any difference how many games over you are if you finish on top. And we cite some other years when the Kansas City Royals won the American League West in 1984. They were only 6 games over 500. And you know what they did? They went on to beat Toronto, who had one of the best records in baseball. Kansas City was in the World Series. And then the New York Mets of 73, they won the National League East. They were 3 games over 500.
Yeah, you know, Ernie, that year the Mets then defeated Cincinnati for the Western of the West for the National League Championship. And they didn't lose the World Series to the 7th game. In fact, they took it down to the 9th inning. Oakland had to win the last 2 games to win the World Series. So the key is to win your division some way.
The key is to get in the right division.
Right.
Here's the 3-1. Drilled along the line in right, but it is hooking foul. Deion James got out in front. First time up, James flied to left. 3 balls, 2 strikes. And the season's over. If you've won your division, not 1 in 10 people can tell you how many games over 500 or what your record was. There's a liner, foul down the first base side. 3 balls, 2 strikes. American League West might be that way this year too. There's only 6.5 games difference between 6th and 1st. And the Minnesota Twins are only 8 games over 500. They're in first place. Runner going. Fly ball right along that line. Is this fair or foul? This is foul. He just missed one. Deion James just missed that foul screen. Boy, that was close. No one arguing. Willie Stargell talking to John McSherry about it, but nothing from Deion.
Well, let's look at it again and see how close it came. Deion has ripped 3 straight off Sebra down the line, and this one just misses being a 2-run home run. And it did look like it went on the right side, the foul side of that pole.
3-2. Smith, the pitcher, is going on the pitch. This time he's holding, and there's a fly ball left. This is an easy catch for Raines. 1 down. Now the batter Ken Oberkfell with a runner at first. By the way, the Braves have added another tryout camp to their original schedule tomorrow. That's the 18th, 9 o'clock, Bentonville, Arkansas. Melvin Ford Park. If you're 16 to 23, take a whack at it. Try out. Wear your workout clothes. Bring a glove, and everything else will be provided. You need your shoes. Catching gears furnished. Bentonville, Arkansas, we're told, incidentally, is on the Arkansas-Oklahoma border.
All right.
All right.
They went that way.
Yes,
Happy.
sir. Pitch is high. 2-0. Little meeting between Fitzgerald and Sebra. Smith not being held at first. He is going because they weren't holding him. He is safe. The ball's in center field. Smith is going to make third, maybe. Yes, he does. The throw is off to the left. Smith, a good athlete. As we've told you before, he was a high school running back. He got a lot of offers to play college football, but they weren't holding him, so he said, I'll take it if you're going to give it to me.
And he's Chuck Tanner's pinch runner when he doesn't want to use up a regular. And you see the jump he gets without being held on. Fitzgerald makes an awful throw on the first base side and in the dirt, and so Zane picks himself up and goes to third. And the throw from Reed Nichols is way off the line, and it's lucky that Sebra was backing up, but the Braves would finally score a run.
The Oberkfell with a chance now with a runner at third and less than 2 outs. 3 balls and a strike. Perry on deck. That's high. The Braves have runners on the corners. For Gerald Perry with 1 away.
And although they didn't announce it, it should be a stolen base for Smith and an error to Mike Fitzgerald, allowing Zane to go to third. At least that's the way I'm scoring it, but
Oh, yeah, that's the way it is. Gotta be. Two on, 1 out. Curveball inside. Gerald Perry looped a single to left first time up. Now the Expos are hoping for a ground ball to short or second for the double play. So they're back. And the curve is inside. 2 balls and no strikes. Perry looking for his 37th RBI. Those are good numbers with runners in scoring position. I hope you caught him. Over 300 with runners in scoring position. That's the batting average of Perry. Smith's at third and Oberkfell at first. He might swing at a 3-0 if he likes it. He likes it. Base hit left and a run in. So Gerald Perry with a 3-0 count gets a go-ahead from Chuck Tanner and responds. He's 2 for 2, and the Braves get on the board. They had gone 11 innings without a run here in Montreal.
the pitch was up and swinging 3-0. Gerald didn't try to yank it out. He went with the pitch, kept the head right on the ball, and lined it to left field.
That hit was off a fastball. They thought he was just probably taking. They might have thought with Murphy coming up that Chuck Tanner would like to have Murphy back with the bases loaded. Chuck Tanner said, go ahead and swing. Let's get a run. Here's Murphy. They're asking Zane Smith if he can whistle. He can run on those bases. Murphy walked the first time. Strike. And that could have been called either way. Ask that guy. Just shakes his head. No balls and a strike. Two on. Braves leading 1-0. There's the curve. Beauty. 0-2. Ooh, brother. What a kind of a late call by Dana DeMuth. It looked like it was a strike, and I thought, oh, he's not going to call this a strike. But then he thrilled the crowd.
Well, I thought it was a strike too, Ernie. I don't know why Dana DeMuth waited so long. It's right over the plate.
Now watch. He still hasn't done anything. Look it. Look it.
And now he pumps him out.
Griffey takes the ball low. 1-0. Well, it was a strike. I wondered why he wasn't going to call it a strike. There's a bouncer to first. Pitcher covering in time. Griffey's out 3-1. The Braves manage one. Expos helped them with a throwing error. We go to the bottom of the third.
This portion of Atlanta Braves baseball is brought to you by Budweiser. Beechwood Age for that distinctively clean, crisp taste that makes Budweiser the king of beers. For all you do, this Bud's for you.
Zane Smith with a 1-0 lead. He helped them so. Fitzgerald will lead it off. Did not play last night. Jeff Reed was a catcher in last night's game. Foul away. It was on this date, 1941. Joe DiMaggio's 56-game hitting streak was stopped by Al Smith and Jim Bagby of the Cleveland Indians. 67,000 looking on. Yankees won the game 4-3 in Cleveland. Jim Bagby, I believe, lives in the Marietta area out that way. Ken Keltner up in Milwaukee took a hit or two away from DiMaggio with great plays. 56 consecutive game hitting streak. Longest this year is 25. That was Wade Boggs.
And of course, after it was stopped, DiMaggio then went on a hitting streak of something like 16 or 17 games.
Well, you talk about a fellow who's retained his popularity. Just missing outside. 2-2. That is a call, strike 3. Dana DeMuth called that one a little quicker. We appreciate it.
Here's a strikeout pitch from Zane. Fastball on the outside corner at the knees. Perfect pitch.
Umpire's life is not easy, boys. You talk about living out of a suitcase. They earn every dollar they make. Sebra. Hit foul down the right side. Reed Nichols on deck. Grounder to short. Andres Thomas throws him out. Reed Nichols, who also grounded to short first time up. The All-Star game just been completed, as you know, and National League won it in extra innings. There's always a danger of a player getting hurt during the All-Star game. All general managers and owners fear that a star might be injured. And sometimes it happens. Ted Williams was hurt in an All-Star game many years ago. Bouncer short. Going to be an easy inning. 1-2-3. But Nolan Ryan was injured stepping in a hole in his ranch during the All-Star break. Nolan Ryan, when the Astros really need him, has missed a turn. He might not pitch even on Sunday. Hurt away from the game. We're going to the fourth. There you can see the score. Richard Williams, a policeman in Atlanta. J.J. Bielo, a detective. Both paralyzed in a line of duty. We're going to try to help out. We hope that you folks will too. On Sunday at Piedmont Park, 1 p.m. If you want to pick up tickets, they're available at all local Provinos, Joe Dale's, Scalini's, Hemingway's, Old South Barbecue in Smyrna, and Hooters. Let's help them. They would help us.
That's a great play by Wallach, and he throws out Andres Thomas. In fact, he stole a double away from Andres Thomas. And we'll see it again. And then, Ernie, why don't you just pick up and talk about that? Because I know there's a way we can all make a contribution to those two fine officers. Great stop by Tim Wallach. He's a terrific third baseman. He throws out Thomas and takes a double away.
If you can't make it to Piedmont Park on Sunday at 1, if you want to send a donation, first to pitch.
Virgil lines a foul. Go ahead.
Donations can be sent to the Atlanta Disabled Officers Fund, Post Office Box 48384, Atlanta, Georgia 30340. Let's all of us pitch in. J.J. Bielo, Richard Williams, two fine men.
It's the top of the fourth. There is one man out as Wallach made an outstanding play. Tim Raines retrieving a baseball out in left center. That's why play has been stopped in the count of 0-1 on Ozzie. Braves have scored. They lead it 1-0 here in the top of the fourth. Ernie Johnson, John Sterling with you from Olympic Stadium here in Montreal. Fastball is inside. Virgil struck out the first time. Sebra got ahead with two fastballs, then hung a curve, and Virgil took it looking for the fastball. It's a guessing game. Virgil bloops one, and it's going to be caught by Hubie Brooks. A little pop off the fist by Ozzie, and Brooks ran it down in short left. So two-way. And now Glenn Hubbard, who fly to left his first time. Sebra took something off that pitch. In the bottom half of the inning, we'll look at the scoreboard. Cincinnati is losing again tonight to the Mets. Fastball is fouled away. Now the count 0-2. If you just tuned in, the Braves didn't knock down any fences, but a hit batsman, a stolen base, and a throwing error put Zane Smith on third. And he scored on a base hit by Gerald Perry. That's been it. There's that curveball, which bounces up. The count 1-2. Struck him out on the curveball. That big curveball. The jug handle will go out on Sebra's excellent curve. That is strikeout number 5 for the right-hander. Nothing across for the Braves at the end of 3.5. It's 1-0 Atlanta.
When you get a look at Snapper's trimmers, the others will never look the same. Snapper builds them tough. With those Snapper...
After all the effort, when the workout's done, doesn't the cool, crisp taste of lemonade-flavored Gatorade sound great? Nothing cuts through thirst like Gatorade Thirst Quencher. It feeds in fluids and minerals and supplies energy to working muscles. Lemonade-flavored Gatorade. Gatorade is thirsty.
Saturday, Superstar Summer continues as a mad scientist experiments get out of hand. Frankenstein must be destroyed. Noon Eastern on the Superstation Saturday.
Oh, the Expos come to bat in the bottom of the fourth, trailing 1-0. You see the score in New York. Tim Tuffle. That's on one hop to Thomas, and Andres throws out Mitch Webster as this ball game is scurrying along. Webster out 6-3, one away. Tim Tuffle having an outstanding year for the Mets. Hit another home run, and he leads 2-1 at the end of 3 and back up Ron Darling. That's the only game started in the National League. In the American League, Oakland, Boston scoreless. Oil Can Boyd pitching for the Red Sox. Detroit has a 4-0 lead. They're playing great baseball. Frank Tanana pitching that game for the Tigers. Cleveland, Chicago scoreless. And Toronto has a 2-0 lead at the end of 1. Lloyd Mosby, another home run, is 15th. Lloyd Mosby has 15 home runs, and he's a distant third to the rest of the outfielders for the Blue Jays who start with him. Jesse Barfield and George Bell.
John, there are 15 players right now with 20 or more homers. Last year at this time there were 8.
Boy, if the second half is like the first half, can you imagine if there are 15 players that have 40 or more home runs? That'd be an all-time record. Tim Raines struck out. He struck out on a fastball his first time. And the count 2-0. He's the key to the Expo attack without question. 3-0. 4-0. When Raines gets on, Raines runs. Tim Wallach comes up. Let's look at that play again. An outstanding play he made on Andres Thomas.
Well, he got it in his glove, and he's been compared lately to Mike Schmidt at third, and that's one of the reasons right there.
Raines doesn't go, and Wallach takes a strike. Raines 25 out of 27 on the base pass, and that's since he started playing in May. Tim Wallach, talking last night on the Star of the Game radio show, said it's the guys getting on bases giving him all those RBIs. That's weakly bounced up the third baseline, so the count 0-2 on Tim. Tim hit a long fly ball his first time, and Griffey caught it about 10 feet shy of the wall. Last night, he said, he was really surprised that his ball didn't go out, the one that was a triple, and that Murphy's ball didn't go out. And he said the ball, for whatever reason, wasn't carrying.
The balls are dead this year. They're not juiced up, they're dead.
In Canada. I mean, in Montreal, Toronto, they're flying out. Raines almost got picked off as Zane Smith stepped off and just slung the ball to first base.
Not many lefties can make this move. This is a cute little move. You don't have to move your right foot. You step off with your left off the rubber, makes you an infielder. You can't balk then, and he almost got Raines.
Wallach, illicit foul down the right field line. Boy, you have to be awfully strong to get mustard on it, though, because you're not using any part of your body, just flicking it really with your wrist. I mean, anyone can throw it over from this flat-footed position, but you can't get any mustard on it, especially to get a guy like Raines. Raines fake going, and Wallach took it low inside, 1-2.
It's interesting in the All-Star game the other night, because we were talking about so many more balks have been called in the National League over the American League. And the reason is, very simply, is that in the American League, they allow the pitcher to not stop. He just bounces out of the stretch position. When you see Zane Smith come to a pause, in the National League, you've got to do that. In the American League, they don't require you to pause that long as Smith is doing. And he almost got Raines. But what I can't understand is, with all those National League umpires in the All-Star game, I saw at least 10 balks by American League pitchers they didn't stop. They must have had a meeting before and said, hey, let's not call that. Okay, they must have.
That's our showcase game. Let's not call it.
Yeah.
Because if an umpire wanted to call a balk, as you know, we've kidded about before, it's like calling a foul on every play in pro basketball. You could do that easily. Yeah. Or calling holding in professional football on every play. Wallach takes it up and out of the plate. And the count 2-2.
The Bucs are 139 in the National League and only 81 in the American League, and it's that particular little move. They allow the pitchers in the American League to bounce right out of that set position and not stop.
That should be 2. Thomas across the back. Look at him get rid of the ball, but he pulled Perry off, and it'll be an error because that would have been a double play. I think that's how I would have scored it. Thomas gets rid of the ball so quickly, but that time he pulled Perry off the bag.
There was no need to hurry either. Wallach doesn't run that well. You can see when the ball comes over first base, well, that's a great way to get range on a force. You can see the throw wide, but Wallach isn't even there yet. See, he's still about 3 feet away. There he comes, and Andres could have taken his time. He knows it. They'll talk it over in the dugout. He could have taken his time and thrown a strike.
And there was no error. And Brooks fouls it away. You can see Thomas come across the bag, and he was a little bit off the bag, and his momentum carried the ball wide of the bag.
Well, they won't give an error if you get the guy at second. You can't assume the double play, but just a strike to first and he's out.
Yeah, I always say that, but if this throw didn't pull Perry way off, Gerald could have stopped and, as you said, gotten back to the bag. Now the count 1-1 on Hubie Brooks, a very dangerous hitter. Boy, talk about platooning players. Hubie's a better hitter than that. He'll hit better against right-handers in the second half, and that's some average against lefties. Hubbard will take it himself. And the Expos are stopped again in the 4th. No runs on, no hits. 1 man left on, and there's your score at the end of 4 innings.
Bartender?
What they do for amusement between innings. What a race it is.
Bob Larson, take notes on the matrix.
I think number 1's going to win myself.
By an eyelash. And the crowd goes bananas right now, number 1. A lot of ballparks are doing that now.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, it's nice to have small things please you so much. Zane Smith just misses a base hit down the first baseline. Oh, it struck the ball girl. She's okay.
She is? Yeah.
Yep. Zane got hit by a pitch that got away from Sebra on the lower part of his leg, and that led to the Braves' run, and the only run of the game. That was back in the 3rd. Vance Law makes the play. 1 away. You know, you hear about baseball nicknames. You look at Vance Law. You know what his nickname is? It's Vinny.
It starts with V. It's got to start with V.
And if you ever wondered why, I mean, of all the silly reasons, he was with the White Sox, and one of the other players thought his name was Vince, so his name is Vinny.
And once you get a handle, they'll never let you up.
That's the handle. Deion James takes a strike. James just missed a 2-run home run, and I mean just by an eyelash down the right field line, then he fly to left. And the count on Deion 1-1. He's hit a lot better of late. He's hitting in 11 of his last 14 games for a .380 average. Two and 1 on James. A run, 2 hits for the Braves. No runs, 1 hit for Montreal.
Fastball.
And the count 3-1 on James.
Might have crossed me up. Looked like it might have gone down. He's not real fast, but he's fast enough.
That's chop foul. And I guess he gets you leaning for that big curveball of his, and then he can sneak the fastball by.
Yeah, you don't have to be blazing fast to win up here. You got 2 or 3 good pitches, and you can put them where you want.
That's fouled away. That really is the key to all pitches like Bob Sebra, and that's control. Stay out ahead of the hitters, then you can throw what you want, keep them off balance. And his strikeout to walk ratio is just about 3-1, and that's darn good is what that is. The curve had no bite, stayed up. And let's see if James tries to run, because the Braves are out and out trying to steal on Montreal's catchers. That is walk number 3 given up by Sebra. Here's Ken Oberkfell. Jim and Ann Fisher, Beth and Jimmy and Alice are all here from Snellville, Georgia. Charles and Sandra Chapman here from Kannapolis, North Carolina, and Gary and Betty Griffin here from Callahan, Florida. James goes, and Oberkfell, playing hit and run, fouls it off. Ernie, there was a note in USA Today, I guess, today, about Ken Oberkfell that he struck out the fewest times of any player in baseball, I think.
They had a list of guys easy to strike out and tough to strike out. Number 24 is one of the toughest.
That's a great attribute to have. He does not swing at bad pitches, Oberkfell.
And it makes no difference if it's a lefty or a righty that's pitching.
Expos pitch out thinking James was going. He was not. The count 1-1. And that means as a number 2 hitter, you can play all kinds of hit and run games with Oberkfell because he makes contact. I bet the Montreal catchers would say, yeah, maybe we don't have the greatest arms in the world, but our pitchers aren't holding them on too closely either. You saw that stat before. Breaking ball is down in it, and the count goes to 2-1.
Well, an example right here is Sebra. When you watch him pitch, he lifts that front leg awfully high. A guy with a little bit of speed, just as soon as that leg goes up, he's going to break. Now watch how high his leg comes up. There goes James.
Breaks. Line to right center, and Nichols fell down. It'll be all the way to the right center field wall. James will score easily. At second, Oberkfell holds with a double. It's an RBI double, and the Braves lead it 2-0. I don't think Nichols would have had it, but he slipped and fell down when the ball was hit. I think that's a double in the gap. Oberkfell, a great gap hitter. So Kenneth gets his 27th RBI, and the Braves lead it 2-0.
That was a fastball going down and away. James was running on the pitch. So when the ball got between them, you can see Webster coming over from right. He couldn't make the play. He was the closest to it, really, but Nichols did slip. And James scores easily all the way from first because he was running. Oberkfell's at second. Here's Gerald Perry, who knocked in the first run.
And Gerald 2 for 2, 2 line drive singles to left field. 0-1 on Perry with Murph on deck. That's a big run at second base. The way Zane Smith is pitching tonight, you get him a third run, he might be very, very tough. Now, I know the Braves record doesn't exactly knock your eyes out at 41-47, but imagine if the Braves win tonight and the Mets beat Cincinnati and you're 4.5 games out. Don't tell me you're not in a pennant race. Sebra's curveball high outside. The count 2-1.
Well, I know one group that'll feel they're in the pennant race, and they do right now. Those guys with the gray suits.
Absolutely.
Right down there.
And they should. If anyone doesn't feel, I mean, on the Braves or Braves management, that they're not in a pennant race, it would be foolhardy with 2.5 months to go and being out by about 5 games.
Well, along those lines, let me mention that there is a fairly close statistics from last year. Let me drop on you that Sparky Anderson said that if he can be 5 games out going into the last month, he said, then we can put our drive on, because they are about 5 out in the American League East, the Detroit Tigers, and Sparky said, give me 5 out going into September, I'll be happy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's where the Braves are now. Here's the 3-1 to Perry. Hit hard. Galarraga will take it himself, and Oberkfell moves on over to third. So Murph will hit with Ken Oberkfell at third and 2 men out.
Looks a little like Bruce Benedict. Bob Sebra. Well, Murphy with a base open. They got Griffey, a lefty, next. Murphy's due to crack one. He's seen just about everything. He walked the first time up, saw a lot of curves, was called out on strikes on a fastball. So he's ready.
The fastball is down in the strike zone. Ball 1. That's the curve, and Murph lost the bat. The ball was fouled off to the Braves dugout, and the bat goes to shortstop.
Every manager has his own thoughts about pitching to certain hitters. I'll never forget Paul Richards. In this particular case, Paul Richards would walk Murphy. I mean, he did. And his only theory was, I'm not going to let a superstar beat me. I'm going to put those guys on. Some managers feel the other way. But Richards always felt that I'll walk Mantle, I'll walk those superstars, and let somebody else knock in the big run.
And that's the theory. Boy, you have to have a good hitter in back of a good hitter, and the Braves do in Ken Griffey.
Right.
Here's the 1-1. Good curveball. Murphy froze on it, and the ball cut right down over the heart of the plate. So the count 1-2. Now, if you're the batter, the guessing game goes on. Does he waste a fastball? Does he bounce a curveball? He better not bounce a curve with a guy at third. But do you look fastball or curve here? 1 ball, 2 strikes. Let's see. Fastball. He wasted it inside, so the count evens at 2-2.
Well, now I'd look curve, but I don't know. I will look. I'm going to look curve. Okay. I'm going to look curve. 2-2.
Okay. Because if he looks curve and Sebra hangs it a little bit, it might be out of here. The pitch. Curveball. When it's low, and the count goes full 3-2.
Now, why I said that is a lot of catchers and pitchers and managers say, I got to get him out. What's your best pitch? My curve. Well, use it then on a 2-2 count. And now I don't know. It's up to you.
Fastball struck him out. Up and in. Good pitch. Well, the Braves get one. They get a run on a hit and leave one. And at the end of 4.5 innings of play, the Braves have a 2-0 lead. We'll move on over to radio, and Pete and Skip will come by in just a minute. There's your score.
Here's the reason we have our own Braves versus Expos, 7:35 Eastern tomorrow night.
We go to the bottom of the 5th. Pete Van Weer and Skip Carey with you now. So far, so good. Braves on top. 2-0. And Zane Smith has pitched to dandy. A one-hitter to this point. And the fellow in the batter's box is the guy that got the hit, Andres Galarraga. A little low. 1 ball, no strikes. You see the numbers on Galarraga. Out of Caracas, Venezuela. Boy, that ball is smoked, but foul. Into a, I guess it's a vacant camera position down there. So the count evens 1-1. Galarraga, Law, and Fitzgerald do on the bottom of the 5th. Good movement on the curve, but he got it too far inside. Line foul again down the right side. Well, Pete, we're going to have to find a... Does the cable CBS get into Canada at all?
I don't know. CNN does. I've watched CNN the last couple days.
Well, we got to get first the pitch. Hit foul to the right again. Got to get somewhere by noon to see CBS.
Why is that?
Because the movie at noon tomorrow is Frankenstein Must Be Destroyed.
Oh, yeah.
The 2-2. Fastball. A chance for Obi. Galarraga runs well for a big guy. He just did throw him out. One away. I think that surprised Oberkfell. I know it surprised me. Boy, that big guy gets down the line in great shape.
Now, usually a guy the size of Galarraga is not going to run that well. Oberkfell had to come in quite a ways. He was playing at deep third base. I think it surprised him when he looked up and saw how close Galarraga was to the bag. He really had to gun it over there to get him.
Vance Law is the batter. He wrapped into a double play his first time. Almost hit him with a breaking ball. 1 ball, no strikes. Frankenstein Must Be Destroyed. It's a 1970 movie. An evil doctor and his associate performed brain transplants. Suddenly explains where TBS finds their producers. The 2-0 pitch. Right through there, 2-1. That's at noon tomorrow. Frankenstein must be destroyed. They've been trying to destroy that sucker for a long time. That's into the left field corner. Law will have himself a double. Griffey fires toward second, but much too late. Law continues his hot hitting. He's at second with 1 out. That brings the tying run to the plate.
That's an amazing streak that Vance was on. He's gotten those 16 hits in his last 8 games.
Mike Fitzgerald called out on strikes his first time. The bullpen still busy for Montreal. The pitcher is on deck. 1 ball, no strikes. Again, it's Andy McGaffigan up and throwing. Good curveball. That's as good a pitch as he's thrown all night. It's 1-1. Fastball, fly ball down the right side. Will Murphy have room in fair territory? Yes, for the second out of the inning. The stands really jut out over there, right where Murph was running. He was about, oh, I guess 8 feet from the wall when he made the catch.
And there's a lot of foul territory until you get to that portion of the stadium where the wall juts out. So an outfielder coming in on a ball like that really has to know where he is in relationship to that wall. If that ball is in about 10 more feet, he's got about 15 more feet to run after it.
Sebra, who is not that bad a hitter, will hit for himself. He bounced to short his first time. Zane Smith really wants to bear down here. And he does, but he misses inside to the curveball. 1 ball, no strikes. In a 2-0 ball game, even though you got a pitcher up with a runner in scoring position, well, you got to go right after him. Fastball, fly ball, same spot in right field. Murphy coming over in foul territory, and he made the catch, and the inning is over. 1 hit, no runs, no errands, 1 left. Zane Smith continues to roll merrily along. We go to the 6th. It's 2-0 Atlanta.
If you order a Braves Clubhouse Collection catalog by August 3rd, you'll receive an autographed photo of Dale Murphy. Just send your name, address, and $1 to Braves Catalog, P.O. Box 4006, Atlanta, Georgia 30302. Remember, the Dale Murphy autographed photo is limited, so order your catalog today.
Good idea, and Ken Griffey leads off the 6th inning. Griffey, Thomas, and Virgil for Atlanta here. Braves on top, 2-0. Charlie Puleo against Bryn Smith, no relation to Zane, tomorrow, and then on Sunday afternoon, Rick Mailer and Neil Heaton. Fastball low. Well, a new experience last night, Professor, in our travels. The French-Canadian rock country western.
Country western, right.
Law will field that on the rug and throw him out, 1 away.
New cultural experience.
It's the first country western place I've ever been in where they had a sign, no blue jeans. But they played my favorite country song, You Don't Have to Call Me Darling, Darling. Curve outside, 1 ball, no strikes. Who sang that?
David Allen Coe, and he sang it somewhat better than the group we heard last night.
A little bit. Fly ball, short right field. Law is going to get there. Last time I heard that song was in the Missouri Grill in St. Louis. Ozzie Virgil, the batter. Two out, nobody on. Virgil has been called out on strikes and has popped to short. 1 ball, no strikes. 2-0 Atlanta. Gerald Perry drove in 1 run, Ken Oberkfell the other. Down and in, and he didn't get it. It's even now, 1-1. Sebra has pitched well, just not as well as Zane Smith. We have him for 6 strikeouts, 3 walks. Braves have 3 hits. Back comes Fitzgerald. He makes the catch at a very easy 6th inning for the young right-hander. No hits, no runs, no errors, nobody left. We go to the bottom half of the 6th inning. Atlanta 2, Montreal nothing.
You're in Germany? I'm getting
6th inning. Nichols, Webster, and Raines will be the first 3. In the other baseball, the Mets lead the Reds 2-1 after 4. Browning against Darling. Tim Tuffle a home run. Philadelphia 2 in the first at Houston against Mike Scott. Shane Warley is pitching. The other action is later tonight. Boston over Oakland 1-0 after 4. Detroit 5-0 over Seattle after 4 behind Frank Tanana. That Trammell is 14th home run. California failed to score in the first at Milwaukee. Cleveland and the White Sox scoreless after 2.5. Baltimore and Kansas City scoreless after 1. Toronto leads Minnesota 2-1 after 2. Gary Gaetti and Lloyd Mosby have homers. New York failed to score in the first at Texas. Reed Nichols leads off the bottom of the 6th. He has bounced to short and then did so again. One ball, no strikes. Foul to the screen. It evens it up 1-1. Same 2 teams tomorrow night. We'll be with you at 7:30 Eastern time and then at 1:30 on Sunday. Little pop right side. Is it playable? I think so. Perry is there, and he's got it 1 out. We talked over on radio, and I think it bears repeating. Perhaps the most overblown story or the biggest improvement, depending on who you talk to. I wasn't in West Palm hardly at all, and the stories and reports coming from there were that Gerald Perry was a butcher at first base. I can't think of anyone in the league who's played it any better than he has, and that includes Keith Hernandez.
And it's true, in spring training he was having his problems. Part of that could be because of the field conditions in spring training. They aren't as good as you're going to get in the major league ballparks. But he really has worked on his defense and improved drastically as the season has gone along.
He's a very quiet kid. He told me in an interview, though, he said a lot of people were worried. He said, I wasn't. He said, I don't see how anybody can play on that particular field and look good. 0-1 is the count. He shortened the bunt, took it low. A ball and a strike. And the other big news of the day, I guess Buddy Bell had some things to say about his teammates. Some of his teammates not coming back from injuries as quickly as he thinks they should.
Yeah, he didn't name names, but he said it's destroying the harmony on the ball club, and that's the second little bit of dissension we've had in that Cincinnati team this year. Earlier in the season, the relief pitchers were complaining about the way they were being used by manager Pete Rose.
And then there was the Mets set to about Darryl Strawberry. I don't know. You really don't know what goes on in other people's clubs. Line, but right at Perry. 2 out. But if I were a veteran player, I think rather than go to the radio or TV or newspaper, man, I'd go to the players I was concerned about and talk to them directly. Why air it in public?
Seems to follow a pattern, too. The teams involved in the dissension this year, the New York Mets and the Cincinnati Reds. The Mets won it so easily last year, and when they started losing earlier this year, that's when all those problems began. Cincinnati was starting to pull away in the Western Division. Then they started to lose, 7 of their last 10 games. Now they're having a little problem. Seems like whenever a team that's expected to win has trouble winning, everybody starts pointing the finger at everybody else.
I guess it's always been that way. When you were a kid, though, you never... Maybe the games were covered differently. In fact, I think they were.
I'm sure they were.
But you never read about it or heard about it growing up. The 0-1. Looked like he turned that change over. It drifted outside.
That all changed when the Oakland A's won 3 pennants in a row with nobody getting along.
Pop foul back and out of play. And also, I think it's safe and fair to say the journalism business, and I'm not just talking about newspapers, I'm talking about radio, TV, newspapers, magazines, is much more acerbic and inquiring and critical now than it was 30, 40 years ago. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
That all changed with Watergate.
Mr. Woodward and Mr. Bernstein.
Changed the way every bit of news is covered, sports news included.
Just missed inside with a curveball. Full count on Raines with Wallach next. The payoff pitch. There are 2 out. Curve, rip, left center, base hit. Let's see how many he can get. He's around first. Jams up, and he'll hold him at first base. Now I don't know what happened to him, and Raines is into second. He got to the ball okay and had Raines stopped cold at first base. Let's see what in the world happened to him.
I don't know whether Deion James lost the grip on the ball or thought that he had held Raines to a single. When he saw Raines stop, he fakes the throw. He starts to go through with it. I think he was losing the grip on the baseball. When he didn't throw that first time was when Raines took off. Yeah, I think he was having trouble holding on to that baseball. And as soon as his throw did not come to second base, Raines took off and got in there easily.
1 ball, no strikes. You see something new every day in this game, don't you? Wallach with 12 homers and 73 RBIs, and he represents the tying run. Well, no harm done on that play, which has scored a double if Zane can go ahead and get Tim Wallach. But that's not an easy task. Curve high, 2-0. Hubie Brooks, another tough hitter, is next. No activity in the Atlanta bullpen. There are 2 out in the inning. Wallach has flied to left and bounced into a forced play to second. Line right center, a run is in. It's 2-1. His 74th RBI. And like good ball clubs do, the Expos take advantage of the Atlanta mistake, and it pays off in a run.
Well, he had a pitch to look for. The count was 2-0. He got a fastball up and over the plate. Raines able to score easily from second.
Here's Brooks, another tough out. 1 ball, no strikes. Jeff Dedmon up now in the Atlanta bullpen. That's almost to the backstop. 2-0. There's Jeff. There in the dungeon in Montreal. 2 balls, no strikes. The count here. Line, right field, base hit. Wallach around second. He is going to stop there, surprisingly. And 3 hits in a row. And Andres Galarraga is the batter. And everybody, with the exception of Glenn Hubbard, is meeting on the mound. The right of your picture was Bob Skinner, Chuck Tanner in the middle, and pitching coach Bruce Dow Canton was on the left. Well, they had only 2 hits all night till this inning with 2 out, and now they've had 3, and Galarraga is having a great year, and it's almost a secret. Here comes Chuck Tanner. That might be all for Zane Smith, who is not at all happy to see his manager come out there, and that's really a good sign. You want a pitcher to be competitive, and that's somewhat of a quick hook, but 3 line drives in a row.
Yeah, we have noted about Zane Smith since he's been up in the major leagues. He can be cruising along for 5, 6, 7 innings sometimes, having no problems whatsoever, but when he does lose it, he seems to lose it in a hurry. This is sort of an early stage in the game. He's only thrown about 83 pitches. Usually it's around the 100 pitch mark that Zane begins to encounter trouble. But Chuck Tanner's taking no chances.
And as Smith departs and as Jeff Dedman comes on with runners at first and second and 2 out to face the right-hand hitting Andres Galarraga, we'll break away for this message.
This relief break.
Pitching after a shaky start much better in recent days. And he's going to have to here. The tying run is at second. The go-ahead run at first with 2 out. Zane Smith went 5 2/3, 5 hits, 1 run to this point. The 2 on base, of course, his responsibility. 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. They're in the 6th now. The Mets lead the Reds 2-1. And after 2, Philadelphia over Houston 2-0. That's Raleigh against Scott. Here comes Galarraga. Jeff Dedman, like so many major league ball players, a Southern California native. Galarraga from a little further away. Caracas, Venezuela. At the knees, inside edge. Andres didn't think so. 0-1. Vance Law is next. Almost hit him inside. A ball and a strike. Hitters have no objection to a pitch like that. You move him off the plate. I just figured out who his batting style reminds me of. Orlando Cepeda a little bit, doesn't he?
A little bit, yep.
2-1 the count on Galarraga. And he's having a Cepeda-like year this time round for the Expo. The 2-1 pitch. 2 on, 2 up. Popped up, foul. No chance over the Expos dugout. So the count evens up at 2-2. It'll look like a line drive in the box score. A looper into center for Galarraga. I doubt that an error will be charged, but James had some more trouble out there.
Dion very fortunate here. He almost came in too far. On the turf, you have to kind of lay back because of the big hop a ball will take, and that almost got over his head. And if it had, it would have gone all the way to the wall, and Galarraga might, the way he runs, have gotten himself all the way around for an inside the park homer. He would have gotten at least 3 on it.
That kid has the quietest 62 RBIs in the history of baseball. Well, Law is 16 of his last 24, and he's the next problem. You look back on this inning, and the key wasn't the problem James had on range ball. It might have been the 2-2 breaking ball to Raines that just missed inside. The 1-0. Strike, the knuckle curve, I think, over the outside corner evens it up. Because then he had to throw him a fastball 3-2. Raines got the base hit. And the hits haven't stopped yet. 4 in a row against 2 pitchers have tied the game. The go-ahead run at third. Two balls and a strike. But Zane Smith can no longer win this game, nor can he lose it. The Expos tie it. They score 2 on 4 hits and leave 2. We go to the 7th. 2-2 our score.
Tomorrow is Up in Lights, and you could win this giant screen TV plus free cable. Check the Superstation every night from 7 to 8 Eastern and 7 to 8 Pacific to see if you're eligible to win. Look at your Superstation channel number now. Write it down, send it in, and be a Superstation super viewer and win.
On CNN Sports tonight at 11:30, Terry Chick and Gary Miller review the day in baseball with a feature on Don Mattingly. Plus, you'll have highlights of the British Open brought to you. Kind of rainy over there today. That's all tonight on Cable News Network. CNN Sports tonight, 11:30 Eastern Time.
Well, we go to the 7th inning. We've got a brand new ball game now. Activity in the Montreal bullpen. Jeff Parrott up and throwing. And a left-hander in the Atlanta bullpen, I think it's Paul Ossenbacher. Dedman is on deck. The line, the pitch to Hubbard. Curve, he took something off, got it right in there. 0-1. McWilliams up and throw it in the Atlanta bullpen. Popped up. Fitzgerald will have room. 1 down. We are not exactly belting the ball around. Dedman is going to hit for himself here. One out, nobody on. Deion James on deck. Bob Sebra has walked 3, struck out 6. And he's ahead of Dedman. 2-2 our score in the 7th. Pete Van Wieren, Skip Carey with you. It's 1-2. Well, this guy is a good-looking young pitcher. Curveball, sayonara. Strikeout number 7. Deion James will bat. James has slid to left twice, walked once, just missed a home run to right on his second at bat in the 3rd inning. At the knees, outside corner, it's 0-1. Now Bob McClure, a left-hander, up in the Montreal bullpen. And it's all quiet for Atlanta. Did he go? Nope. Fred Brocklander made the call from third base. 2 balls and a strike. Hot shot. Galarraga. Brilliant play, and the inning is over. Well, these guys are playing some baseball. Highway robbery there. James is robbed of a hit, and the Braves go in order. No hits, no runs, no errors, nobody left. We go to the bottom of the 7th. The momentum is switched, but it's tied 2-2.
so simple. Really, a direct electrical charge here heats up the carbonized filament here, which in turn excites the gases trapped in here, and voila!
Well, that's very nice, Thomas. But I wanted a Bud Light.
If you want the great taste of Bud Light, ask for it.
Don't feel bad, Thomas. It's not a complete loss.
Bud Light, because everything else is just a light.
We'd like to make something perfectly clear. The two best-selling spray cleaners are not the same. One is clearly faster and better at removing tough, greasy dirt. Formula 409 spray cleaner. It's clearly better.
Fresh scent Clorox, I say fresh scent Clorox. Fresh scent Clorox bleach, goodness, it smells so good.
Fresh scent, another great Clorox bleach.
Goodness, it smells so good.
We have been fascinated from the beginning. As a machine, the human body remains a supreme invention. To unlock its potential, we offer Soloflex. Simple and efficient, like the body itself. Which may explain why Soloflex looks less like a machine and more like a work of art.
This weekend is your chance to win a classic Fender guitar from the movie La Bamba, or a trip to New York to see Keel and Bon Jovi. Only on Night Tracks this weekend on the Superstation.
We go to the bottom of the seventh as UB, the fun-loving mascot of the Montreal team, takes a tumble. A pinch hitter for the Expos. Tell you who he is and what's happening here the rest of the way. Once again, Pete Van Weer.
Okay, thank you, Skip. Casey Candell batting .280, no homers, 11 RBIs. Takes downstairs, ball one. He's batting for the catcher, Fitzgerald. 1-1 the count. Candell, a very talented player, can play just about anywhere. The infield, the outfield. Here's the 1-1, fouled back. Tom Foley is moved to the on-deck circle. He will bat for Bob Sebra. And the 1-2 just misses. 2-2. Candell, a good contact hitter. He's had 300 at bats this year, only 17 strikeouts. Second baseman Glenn Hubbard with a nice play. High throw over the head of Gerald Perry into the Expos dugout. And a very rare throwing error by Glenn Hubbard. And I'll tell you what I think happened there. Hubbard tried to get rid of that ball so quickly. Candell has good speed, but that ball was very sharply hit, and Hubbard really had more time than that to make the throw.
Yeah, that's what cost him right here. Look at him. He unloads as quickly as he can. The ball sails on him. Perry missed it by an eyelash. If he catches the ball, he still has a chance perhaps to make a tag. So that hurts.
So it's a two-base error on Glenn Hubbard. Candell, the runner, at second. Now it's going to be Herman Winningham instead of Tom Foley batting for the pitcher Bob Sebra. Now hold everything. Jeff Reed has now come out.
They got to get him in the game anyway to catch, so they'll use him, we would guess, to bunt the runner over.
Winningham's going to stay in the on-deck circle. He'll bat for Reed Nichols. So Buck Rogers going to his bench here, trying to get the Expos the lead. And a break has given him a runner at second base with nobody out. Reed hitting just .183, no homers, 8 RBIs. Probably bunting here. And taking outside, ball one. 2-2 game, bottom half of the seventh inning. The Expos trying to win their 5th game in a row, trying to go 10 games over 500. Here's the 1-0. He is swinging this time and missing. 1 ball, 1 strike. Jackie Moore flashing signs down at third. Oberkfell stays in at third. Perry stays in at first. They're still not sure if Reed will be bunting or not. Here's the 1-1. This time he squares, gets the bunt down toward the pitcher. Dedman looks toward third, had a play there, but elected to go to first. It's a 1-4 sacrifice. And the runner is now at third.
As you see this again, this is a play that really has to be called by the catcher or somebody. Normally the catcher, because he's headed right toward the pitcher. He gave a look to third base. I don't know if he was where he was told to throw the ball, but he went to first and almost missed connections there. Now Winningham, the batter, with the go-ahead run at third, 1 out.
So Winningham now in the bat for Reed Nichols. Herman Winningham, 274, 3 homers, 27 RBIs, 2 out of 5 as a pinch hitter. The infield in all the way around. Trouble spot for Jeff Dedman. Runner third, 1 out. A ball high. Boy, these Expos have some terrific batting averages, don't they, with runners in scoring position? There's the 1-0. Swing and a miss of that knuckle curve. 1 ball, 1 strike.
There's something like, I think, 14 over, maybe 15 over since Timmy Raines came back.
And Raines has seemingly picked up the whole ball club. Even a guy like Winningham, who was struggling with the bat earlier this year, has come on. One man out, a runner at third, 2-2 game. The 1-1 is a little high, 2-1. The on-deck hitter, Mitch Webster. Here's the 2-1 delivery, and that just missed outside. 3-1. Here's where you have to be careful. The 3-1 pitch. Really, a walk to Winningham would not be all that bad. It would set up a possible double play. And the 3-1 on the way, and he misses high, ball 4. That's the first walk issued by Dedman. He was not going to give in there. So now Mitch Webster steps in. Webster is 0 for 3. He's grounded out to first, grounded out to short, and lined out to first. Webster with fair speed, but you can get him on a double play. He'll steal a base every now and then, but his speed getting down to first base out of the batter's box is just average. Ozzie Virgil checking with the Braves dugout to see how Chuck Tanner wants this played. The infield is going to play in all the way around. Andres Thomas cheating back a little to start a double play if a ground ball is hit to him. First and third, 1 out. Runner at first is going. The throw goes to the shortstop. That's a play the Braves work on. If that runner at first takes off, it's the runner at third you want to keep your eye on. And Thomas was the man designated to get the throw and return it home if the runner at third broke, which he did not.
And that's one of the problems with playing the infield in. It's very difficult for them to get back to take the throw. So now You don't have the double play possibility. First base is open, but Raines is next.
17th stolen base for Winningham. And the count goes to 2-0 on Mitch Webster. Candell, the runner at third. Winningham down at second with one out. 2-2 the score. There's the 2-0, and the breaking ball caught the outside corner. 2-1. Gets away from Virgil. He lost it for a moment, but finds it in a hurry. And the runners have to stay put. It's 3-1 now, though, on Mitch Webster.
So when a catcher's job gets a little testy when in a tie ball game, late innings, and a ball comes into the dirt, and then you have that helpless feeling you don't have any idea where it went.
So again, a tough situation for Dedmon. A 3-1 count on a pretty good hitter, Mitch Webster. He needs to throw a strike, but you can't really make the pitch too good. And the 3-1 on the way. Fly ball left field. It'll be deep enough to score the run. Ken Griffey back there waiting, and Candell will score easily. The throw comes to third, and that keeps the runner Herman Winningham at second. But the Expos, with an unearned run, have taken a 3-2 lead. RBI number 29 for Mitch Webster. Now Tim Raines, who has struck out, walked, and doubled. He will be intentionally walked. This will be the second walk given up by Dedmon. It doesn't get a whole lot easier after Raines. Tim Wallach will be next, but the Braves playing the right-hander against right-hander situation here.
And you almost feel like this might be the ball game. If you get out of it down a run, you've got a shot. But if this guy whacks one someplace, it might be history.
Tim Wallach, whose best RBI year in the major leagues was 81 a couple of years ago, already has driven in 74 runs this year, including one tonight with a sixth-inning single. His base hit back in the sixth got the Expos on the scoreboard. Andres Galarraga later drove in the tying run. Now the sac fly by Mitch Webster has given the Expos a 3-2 lead. Wallach, besides the base hit, is flying to left and hit into a 4-6 force play. Right through there for a called strike. Tim Wallach, one of the few hitters around who does not use batting gloves. Almost everybody in baseball now wears at least one, sometimes two batting gloves. But not Tim Wallach. There's the 0-1. Line to the center field. He's going to drive home another one. Winningham will score. Runners are at first and third. It's 4-2. RBI number 75 for Tim Wallach. The Expos, a very confident team right now. They've been playing excellent baseball for the last couple of months. And Chuck Tanner will make the change here as Jeff Dedmon couldn't get the job done tonight. Dedmon lifted after working one inning. And he's been charged with 2 runs thus far. The runners at first and third belong to him. He gave up 2 hits. The runs are all unearned in this inning, but they count. There's your score, and we'll be back right after this. The new Atlanta pitcher, Jim Acker, makes his 39th appearance of the season. They've all been in relief. There you see his record. And he'll be facing another tough hitter, Hubie Brooks, with runners first and third, 2 men out. This inning began with that throwing error by Glenn Hubbard. And then the runner, Casey Candell, was bunted over to third. Herman Winningham walked, stole second. The sacrifice fly by Mitch Webster brought one run in. After an intentional walk to Tim Raines, Tim Wallach came through with a run-scoring single. Hubie Brooks with a walk. He hit into a forced play and he singled. 1 for 2. Hubie Brooks without the batting gloves. Tim Raines, the runner at third. Tim Wallach, the runner at first. 2 men out. 4-2. Montreal leads it. Ozzie Virgil giving signs, and that'll tell the infield who gets the throw if the runner at first takes off. Now Acker ready. His pitch on the way to Brooks. 0-1. The 0-1 is taken high. 1 ball, 1 strike. And the 1-1 coming. 2-1. The Expos had only 2 hits over the first 5 innings. And they picked up 4 runs on 5 hits in the last 2 innings, and the count now goes to 3-1 on Hubie Brooks. You can't keep pitching 3-1 to good hitters. Ball 4. That loads him up for Galarraga. That's the 3rd walk of the inning. So it's Brooks at first, Wallach at second, Raines at third, Andres Galarraga, who has 2 singles in 3 at-bats. His single in the 6th drove in the run that tied the game. Nothing and 1 the count. Well, this is definitely a key hitter. As Skip mentioned, Tim Wallach was a big hitter in this inning. If the Braves have been able to get him, it'll only be a 1-run game, and they've got to get Galarraga here, or the Expos have blown it wide open. Toward third, Oberkfell will go to second in time for the force on Brooks. And Acker puts out the fire. But the Expos pick up 2. And at the end of 7, Montreal has claimed the lead. It's 4-2 Expos. We've got some changes for Montreal as we go to the top half of the 8th inning. Jeff Reed stays in the game to do the catching. He'll be batting in the number 9 spot. Herman Winningham will be batting in the leadoff spot, taking over in center field. We have a new shortstop. I believe it's Casey Candell. It is Casey Candell now playing short, and he'll be batting in the 8th spot. So Hubie Brooks comes out of the game. And batting in Hubie Brooks' spot will be the new pitcher, Jeff Parrott. Young right-hander out of the Brewers organization. Originally was drafted from the Brewers minor league system by Montreal. And there you see the numbers on him. The big number there, 21 strikeouts in 20 innings. Sebra, the pitcher of record, worked 7. Allowed just 3 hits, 2 runs. He walked 3 and he struck out 7.
Meanwhile, in the other baseball, the Mets 2-1 over the Reds. That's at the end of 6. Browning and Darling pitching that one. Raleigh and Scott in the Philadelphia-Houston game, the other National League action later. Oakland has taken a lead over the Red Sox. Detroit shutting out Seattle behind Frank Tanana. California has a lead. The White Sox just scored 3. And you see the rest, and let's go back to the game.
Braves have not seen much of Jeff Parrott, even in spring training. For some reason, his name never came up very often when the Braves and Expos got together. He's as we mentioned, out of the Milwaukee organization. Signed out of the University of Kentucky. Ken Oberkfell went around the count 0-1. Oberkfell tonight has grounded out, walked, and doubled. He drove in a run with his double back in the 5th inning. Braves trail by 2. One ball, one strike. Parrott with a good live fastball. He also has a hard slider, and his off-speed pitch is a palm ball. 25 years old. Didn't mean to. Fouled it off. 1-2. That's a frustrating strike for a hitter. The pitch was up and in, so instead of sitting with a count of 2-1 looking for your pitch, suddenly you're behind 1-2. Montreal with a 2-run lead. We're in the 8th. First baseman Andres Galarraga called off now by Vance Law, and Law has it 1 down. It's always difficult to win on the road, but the Braves have had ridiculous problems winning in this ballpark. Since this ballpark has opened, Olympic Stadium, the Braves and the Expos have played over 60 times. The Braves have won 19 games. The Expos have won 43. And that goes back to some days when Montreal did not have a very good ball club at all. Gerald Perry takes the first pitch up high, ball 1. Perry with 2 singles and 3 at-bats, 1 RBI. Two and 0 the count. Now the 2-0 pitch coming. That fastball is over at the letters. 2 balls and a strike.
Wow.
There's the 2-1. Swing and a miss. 2-2. We just got some information that the last time the Braves swept a 3-game series here in Olympic Stadium, well, it wouldn't have been Olympic Stadium. It would have been at Parc Jerry in Montreal. 1976. Olympic Stadium was just opening that year, and the Olympics were being played in it. That's a foul ball. Stays 2-2. So the Braves have never swept a series here, and of course they can't do it in this one because they lost the opener last night. But usually somewhere along the way you're going to break even in a couple of series or win 2 out of 3.
Or you
split a 4-game set, even sweep one now.
Yeah, because you would think somewhere along the line you're going to catch the other guy, even if you're not going that good, when they're going worse than you are. I mean, that's just
we don't have this record at our disposal, but I will bet you that the Braves' winning percentage is lower in this ballpark than any other park they play in.
And that includes Dodger Stadium.
Yeah. 2-2 to count and Perry.
Al Galima will ferret out that information, if not tonight, by tomorrow.
Up high, full count, 3-2. One man out. We're in the 8th. Braves down by a couple. And there's a walk, which may get something started. We'll see. First walk issued by Parrott, number 4 off of Sebra. Dale Murphy has walked and struck out twice. Buck Rogers trying to get his team perhaps to within 7 games of the lead in the National League East. They gained a game last night on the Cardinals.
Parrott would have really had trouble against the old minor league club from Atlanta, the Crackers.
Low and outside, ball 1.
If you feel I should be ashamed, rest assured I am.
Yeah, that was really reaching. Perry chased back. Earlier in the game, back in the first inning, Perry stole a base. He now has 15, tied with Albert Hall for the team lead. Well, Parrott having a little trouble throwing strikes right now. He's fallen behind 2-0 after walking Gerald Perry. might hit the roof. Almost did. Tim Wallach makes the catch in foul territory, and I'll tell you what, nobody has hit the roof here at Olympic Stadium yet, but that ball couldn't have missed by more than just a few feet. 2 outs, however.
Pretty little thing, isn't it?
No.
Oh.
Now Ken Griffey. It's already starting to deteriorate. It's only been up 3 months.
And it either has 5 or 14 more years to go.
Ken Griffey takes high and tight, ball 1.
$1.2 billion. It's...
Perry not being held, and Griffey takes a strike. 1-1. 2 men out in the 8th inning. Braves trailing 4-2. Griffey 0 for 3 tonight. Runner going on the 1-1 pitch. Line drive into left center field is going to be in for extra bases all the way to the wall. Perry around third, heads for home. And Ken Griffey down at second with a run-scoring double. The Braves are back to within 1. For Griffey, his 15th double of the year. And he drives in his 46th run.
And again, the only thing that got the run home here, I believe, is the fact that Perry was running. He's got excellent speed, but as quickly as the ball gets to the wall here, I think they would have had to hold him at third, or he might have been thrown out at the plate. Fastball sailing away from the left-hand hitter, and Griffey hit it very, very hard. Now a base hit ties it up, but Parrott may fly the coop here as his manager's on his way to the mound.
And the call goes to the bullpen. Another right-hander throwing down there. Very difficult to see from our location who the pitchers are in the bullpens here.
We think it's Tim Burke coming in, but we're not sure yet. So let's go to the commercial, and we'll let you know for sure when we come back. And that will be right after this.
When it comes to
the new pitcher, right-hander Tim Burke, makes his 29th appearance. A win and 8 saves, a 1.82 earned run average. You know, they say about relief pitchers that many times a relief pitcher will have a good year, then a bad year, kind of every other year. You come through with one big season. And Tim Burke has never had a bad year up here out of the bullpen. 85 was his rookie year. He won 9, saved 8, 2.39 ERA. Last year he won 9, saved 4, 2.93 ERA. This year 1 win, 8 saves, 1.82 ERA. That's very consistent work from the bullpen. He and Andy McGaffigan tied for the lead in saves on this staff. Andres Thomas will be the batter. Now that's not a good stat for a relief pitcher. And he inherits a runner at second in this position. Thomas 0 for 3. A strikeout, a ground out to third, a pop to second. (4-3) Montreal on top. Griffey representing the tying run down at second base. 0-1 the count on Thomas. Breaking ball missing. 1 ball, 1 strike. Andy McGaffigan and Bob McClure up now in the Montreal bullpen. A ball and 2 strikes on Andres Thomas. Hurting a little bit after fouling that one off his foot. Gene Garber up for Atlanta now. Andres still hurting there. Dave Pursley comes out now, and Andres says, "I'm okay." He steps back in with a count of a ball, 2 strikes. Jeff Reed using one of those target gloves that was originally developed by the Dodger organization. Got that orange rim around it to give the pitcher a better target. Into shallow center field. It's going to drop for a base hit. Let's see if Griffey can score. Winningham juggles the ball. We've got a tie game. Andres Thomas drives in his 30th run of the year, just drifting a little soft liner into shallow center field. Winningham might have had a play at the plate had he fielded the ball cleanly, but he juggled it out there and had no throw.
Well, that's 12 out of 16 inherited runners that have scored. He made a good pitch. The ball wasn't hit that well, but just like a couple of the Expos hits tonight, into a perfect spot. Right there, he had trouble coming up with the ball. That cost him about 5 steps, and that was enough to make Griffey score easily. Thomas still hurting at first base, but he's going to try to stay in there.
So the Braves have come back here in the 8th inning, tying it up. And the batter will be Ozzie Virgil, who was really due. In this game, he has struck out, popped to short, and fouled to the catcher. He has just 1 hit now in his last 27 at bats. His average has fallen to .226. A ball, no strikes. That caught the outside corner, and the count even, 1-1 on Virgil. Skip, you were commenting over on the radio side how many strikes Ozzie Virgil seems to be taking these days.
Yeah,
he's not nearly as aggressive as he was back when he was going good. That one fouled away into the box seats, 1-2.
All hitters go through that. But right now he seems to be taking most of the good ones and then swinging at the bad one. It's been, what, June 21st since he hit one out.
Right. The 1-2 on the way. Broken bat roller toward second. This will end the inning. Law over to Galarraga for out number 3. But the Braves get off the deck here in the 8th inning, scoring 2 runs to tie it. They leave 1. We go to the bottom half of the 8th inning. It's a 4-4 ball game.
I remember my father's favorite tune.
This portion of Atlanta Braves baseball is brought to you by Budweiser. Beechwood aged for that distinctively clean, crisp taste that makes Budweiser the king of beers. For all you do, this Bud's for you.
We go to the bottom half of the 8th inning in a 4-4 game. Vance Law, Casey Candell, Jeff Reed. Hitters 7, 8, and 9 in the order due up against Jim Acker. Looking ahead to the Braves' 9th inning, they will have Glenn Hubbard leading it off, then the pitcher's spot, then Deion James due up. Law 1 for 3 tonight, into a double play in the 2nd, doubled in the 5th, flied out in the 6th. 4-4 game, bottom of the 8th inning. Fouled away, 0-1. Deep to left field. Griffey going back on the warning track. He can't get it. Vance Law as hot as you can be. Down at second with another double. That's his 2nd double of the game, his 21st double of the year. And he now has 17 hits in his last 26 at-bats.
Boy, that is an amazing streak. Griffey came close on this ball. It was really ripped. Fastball seemed to be moving in on it.
So another trouble spot for the Braves bullpen. Jim Acker has a runner at second to tie game. Nobody out. Casey Candell, who reached on Hubbard's error as a pinch hitter in the 7th, stayed in the game at short. He's an excellent bunter, but he doesn't show bunt on the first pitch. 1-0 the count. Perry with a nice play going to third. They've got Law hung up. Oberkfell. Back to Andres Thomas. Thomas gives it to Gerald Perry. And Perry, the first baseman, makes the putout way over near third. But it was Gerald Perry's defense again that made that play.
Unfortunately, though, it took the Braves too long to close the deal and allowed the guy that hit the ball, Candell, to wind up at second base. So you gained not getting the runner to third, but you've still got the runner in scoring position. And don't really blame Perry, unless maybe he should have run right at the runner. But while all this is going on, Candell is pulling into second base, so give Lawson credit. He did his job.
Now Jeff Reed, who had a sacrifice bunt in his only at bat. High and away, ball one. Now the count 2-0 on Reed. Herman Winningham on deck. If you score along with us, that play went 3-5-6-3, retiring Law. Here's the 2-0. High again, 3-0. Reed not having a good year at the plate at all, hitting just 183 overall. And he walks on 4 straight. That's walk number 2 given up by Acker. Walk number 6 off Atlanta pitching. That'll bring up Herman Winningham. Chuck Tanner on his way to the mound. And we're going to get Paul Ossenmacher, I believe, into the ball game. Winningham, a left-hand hitter. And the call goes to the bullpen for Paul Ossenmacher to come in and pitch to him. So Acker will be lifted. He put out the fire in the 7th inning, but in some trouble of his own here in the 8th, and he will leave after working just 2/3 of an inning. He has given up 1 hit, has 2 base runners that belong to him. He has walked 2, did not record a strikeout. And while Paul Ossenmacher makes his way in, we'll take time out for these words. Paul Ossenmacher, the 4th pitcher of the night for Atlanta, makes his 34th appearance out of the Braves bullpen. There you see his numbers. They're beginning to get a little bit better, particularly that ERA, which was up over 5 and even over 6 for a while in the first half of the season. He told me before the game tonight that he feels he kind of let the team down the first half of the year. He had some arm difficulties. He said that even after coming off the disabled list, it was really mid-June before his arm really felt that it was fully sound. He began to pitch a little bit better toward the end of the first portion of the season, going into the All-Star break, and he had a scoreless inning here last night. So his goals for the remainder of this season very much the same as for just about everybody on that Braves pitching staff, to be much more consistent.
Looking back, by the way, and this is definitely a second guess, but I was just thinking about it. Thinking about it again, I'm amazed Casey Candell didn't try to bump the runner to third.
He didn't even show bunt on either pitch. Herm Winningham came up in the 7th inning as a pinch hitter for Reed Nichols. He walked and stole a base. You see that even though he doesn't play much against left-handers, he's hit them very well this year. He's a tough man to double. Ossenmacher deals. Breaking ball is outside. Ball 1. "4-4 is our score in the bottom half of the 8th inning. Reed the runner at first. Candell the runner at second. 1 man out. And that's a base hit by Herm Winningham. The runners will be at first, second, and third. They are loaded for Mitch Webster. Webster hitless tonight. He is grounded out to first, grounded out to short, lined out to first. He did drive in a run with a sac fly in the 7th. That was the run that put Montreal in front for the first time in this game. The Braves have since tied it up, and now Webster with a chance to put them ahead again. He's a switch hitter, batting .289 right-handed, came in at .278 lefty, so he's pretty consistent from either side of the plate. Toward third, Oberkfell, great play, coming home, got him there. Ken Oberkfell saved at least 1, maybe 2 runs there. That ball was hit so hard it almost knocked Oberkfell over after he made the play.
Great camera work. Went to his knees. Got him easily at the plate. But you're not out of the woods yet with Tim Raines hitting.
Tim Raines with a strikeout, 2 walks and a double tonight. He has scored a run. He came in at .390 from the right side of the plate this year. One ball, no strikes. 2 men out, bases still loaded. Webster now at first, Whittingham at second, Reed at third. The 1-0. Boxed a little bit by Ozzie Virgil. And the count now 2-0 on Raines.
Boy, that puts him in the driver's seat, doesn't it, with the bases loaded in the 8th inning?
It's been happening throughout these last 2 innings. Montreal hitters have had the count in their favor frequently in the 7th and the 8th. 2-0 pitch. Ball 3. Here's the 3-0 to Raines. He takes a strike.
If you're Buck Rogers, what do you do now? Do you let him hit, or do you make the guy throw 3 strikes in a row?
Tim Raines, I turn loose. He had to take 1 strike there, but he's got to be looking for something to swing at here. And he's got one deep short. Thomas to second, not in time. The run is scored, and Montreal has taken a 5-4 lead. That'll be an RBI, the 38th of the year for Tim Raines. Mitch Webster favoring that right leg.
Hamstring.
Looks like a hamstring.
Tell you what, Pete, on this play, you can't blame Oberkfell, because if he gets to this ball, the inning's over. But the best chance the Braves had was if Thomas could have gone to third base. Obi was no longer there. He did all he could do, but Webster beat it. You can see right there the way he went into the base very strangely. I don't know how badly he's hurt, but it is a hamstring problem, either a tug or a pull, and maybe just a tug, because he's going to try to stay in the ballgame.
Buck Rogers out to make sure that Mitch Webster, one of those guys that just hates to come out of a game.
He spent a lot of years trying to get here, and he knows about Wally Pipp and Lou Gehrig.
So he's going to try to tough it out here and stay in the ballgame. Tim Raines given credit for an infield hit. Tim Wallach, who has driven in 2 more runs tonight, up there now with the bases loaded with a left-hander on the mound. Takes it low, ball 1. 5 runs, 10 hits for Montreal. 4 runs, 5 hits for Atlanta. The Braves are going to have to try to come back one more time. 2-0 now on Wallach. He was a big man back in the 7th inning. He came through with a base hit. And he's a big man to get here in the 8th. Down by 1, you feel you still have a chance, but if he gets one through, 2 more runs might score.
And again, pitching from behind. 3 walks in the 7th, a walk here in the 8th, a 3-0 count on Raines, and now a 2-0 on Wallach.
Ossenmacher with a 2-0. Andres Thomas will handle this one. And no further damage done here in the 8th inning, but maybe enough. As Montreal takes the lead, scoring a run, leaving 3. We go to the 9th inning. Braves have one more crack at the Expos, down by 1. Right. Some changes for Montreal. Tom Foley has moved into the game at shortstop. He'll be batting in Mitch Webster's spot. Webster, you'll recall, had that problem down at second base, so Casey Candell moves from shortstop out to right field, replacing Webster there. And here in the 9th inning, Glenn Hubbard, the pitcher's spot. Then Deion James due up against Tim Burke, who has a chance to pick up the win here. Hubbard tonight is fly to left, struck out, and fouled out to the catcher. Greg Nettles has moved on deck. He will bat for Ossenmacher. Broken bat roller right back to the pitcher. 1 pitch, 1 out in the 9th. Greg Nettles pinch hitting. 206 with 4 homers, 24 RBIs, 5 out of 29 as a pinch hitter. One out in the 9th inning. Burke missing low, ball 1. Burke with that unusual windup, sort of slapping that glove on his left leg as he starts. They felt when he was coming up in the minor leagues that he was simply too easy to pick up. So they said, try something, try anything to give yourself a little different look out there. What he came up with was the windup that he still uses. I don't know of any other pitcher in the major leagues anyway that works quite that same way. 1 ball, 1 strike on Nettles. Has taken care of the first 2 all by himself. So now it's all up to Deion James, who is hitless tonight. He's trying to extend the 5-game hitting streak. Tonight he has flied to left twice, he has walked, and he has grounded out to first. This one would hurt a lot more than last night's game did. Last night, Floyd Yeoman simply overpowered the Braves. That's going to happen to you every now and then. Tonight, the Braves came back once to tie it after blowing a lead early. But Montreal 1 out away from their 2nd straight win in this series. Here's the 1-0. Right through there. 1 ball, 1 strike. Two men out, 5-4 Expos, top half of the 9th, the 1-1. Just outside, 2-1. That caught the inside corner, and it's 2-2 now on Deion James. If James keeps it going, Ken Oberkfell waiting on deck. Here's the 2-2. Drilled into right field. James keeps it going. A 2-out single to right. The ball gets away from Casey Candell. James down to second. He'll take the turn there, head for third. The throw coming toward third won't be in time. And the rookie right fielder, Casey Candell, who just moved out there from shortstop, has given the Braves a little hope here. It's a single for James, a two-base error on Candell. And now Ken Oberkfell with a chance to drive in the tying run.
He just didn't get the tailgate down, that's all. They hustled after it. If you don't, James could have circled the bases. And here comes Buck Rogers.
Well, he's got a left-hander, Bob McClure, out in the bullpen. The Braves have lefty hitters coming up, Ken Oberkfell and Gerald Perry. They could go to the bench for Ted Simmons, batting from the right side. They also have Gary Renicky available, Bruce Benedict, and Paul Runge. Tim Burke will be lifted here. He worked a total of 1 inning. He has given up 2 hits. The runner at third belongs to him. No walks or strikeouts. He is the pitcher of record, could pick up the win if the bullpen can hold it for him here. And as McClure makes his way in from the Montreal bullpen, we'll take time out for this.
When it comes to
veteran left-hander Bob McClure on for the 29th time for the Expos. Last year, the closer for Montreal was Jeff Reardon. He was traded to Minnesota, and Buck Rogers said prior to the season, we'll have to do it by committee this year. We won't have just one guy coming in to close out games. Well, that's how it's worked. Tim Burke has 8 saves. Andy McGaffigan has 8 saves. Jeff Parrott 3 saves. And now Bob McClure trying for his first save of the year. Although he's pitched in 28 games, as you saw, he's worked only 29 in the 3rd inning. So his job has been basically to come in when left-hand hitters are due up, and that's the situation right here. Can Oberkfell due up? He will hit for himself. He has hit left-handers very well this year. And he'll go in there against McClure with a runner at third, 2 outs, and the Braves trailing by a 5-4 score. Deion James representing the potential tying run. Ken Oberkfell, the hitter. Oberkfell is grounded to second. He's walked, he's doubled, and he's popped to second. His double drove in a run back in the 5th. Hitting 28 points higher against left-handed pitching. And with Rafael Ramirez out for a while now after undergoing knee surgery, Oberkfell is going to get a chance to play against left-handed starters. Breaking ball outside. And the 1-0. Misses low, 2-0. All kinds of ways for Deion James to get home. Any kind of a hit by Oberkfell, of course, gets him in. An error by Montreal gets him in. A wild pitch, a pass ball.
Walk.
There's the 2-0. That caught the inside corner, 2-1.
There's his breaking ball. Just caught the corner.
Now the 2-1. Little pop up into the third base foul territory. It's going to be caught by Tim Wallach. And the Braves drop a tough one here. Final score, Montreal 5, Atlanta 4. We'll be back with the totals right after this. Montreal makes it 2 in a row over the Braves in this series, and Skip Carey has the totals.
Okay, Pete, for the Expos, 5 runs, 10 hits, 2 errors. They left 11, 8 of them in the last 3 innings. For Atlanta, 4 runs, 6 hits, 1 error. The Braves left 7. Tim Burke, the winner, 2-0. Jim Acker, the loser, 0-4. Bob McClure, his first save. Tim Raines, who missed a month, his 7th game-winning RBI. 21,576. Paid to see it. It's too early to say it yet, but are we in the midst of deja vu? Back after this.
The Braves led it 2-0, fell behind 4-2, battled back to tie it 4-4, but then in the bottom half of the 8th inning, with 2 men out and Tim Raines at the plate, he delivers the game-winning hit, an infield single that Andres Thomas gets to, and tries to make a play at second. Webster there easily. The Expos made that run stand up. They win it 5-4. And Cincinnati, by the way, scored 4 runs in the 9th inning to defeat the New York Mets. So the Braves drop a game. They're now 6.5 behind the Reds in the West. Tomorrow night, game 3 in this series. Charlie Palaio with a 3-2 record against Bryn Smith with a 6-3 record. And we'll have it for you beginning at 7:30 Eastern Time right here on the Superstation. Until then, for Skip Carey, Ernie Johnson, John Sterling, and the rest of our TBS crew, Pete Van Wieren from Olympic Stadium in Montreal, where tonight's final, the Expos 5 and the Braves 4. Good night, everyone.
Superstation WTBS has presented the Atlanta Braves, America's team. This game has been brought to you by Budweiser. Beechwood aged for that distinctively clean, crisp taste that makes Budweiser the king of beers. By Delta, the official airline of the Atlanta Braves, serving more than 150 cities worldwide. Delta gets you there with care. And by Canon, the world leader in 35mm photography and the official camera of the Atlanta Braves. Atlanta Braves Baseball is a production of TBS Sports.
Coming up next, laugh with that Junkyard Genius.